Welcome to Obscura Historia, your new favorite channel for uncovering the lesser-known, mysterious, and downright peculiar chapters from the human past. So, I've been recently reading about one of the weirdest concepts I've ever come across: time slips. Imagine you're just minding your own business, walking down the street, maybe enjoying a nice sandwich. Bam! Everything changes. You're not in 2025 anymore. You're in, 1901. No warning, no time machine, just you suddenly stuck in the wrong century. And there are some seriously wild stories I've found about this happening. So, let's dive in. Versailles, 1901. Two British women, Charlotte Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, going for a nice walk, a nice day out on the palace. But partway through, the vibe just shifted. Everything got quiet and weirdly still. The people around them were suddenly dressed in powdered wigs and fancy silk dresses. Not exactly the kind of thing you expect to see unless you've wandered into a stage play. They even said they saw Marie Antoinette herself. They even eventually wrote a whole book about it. Now, maybe it was a shared hallucination, or maybe they were just making it all up. But if that's the case, it was a pretty detailed and damn good lie. And that brings us forward to the 1970s. Two British couples are road tripping through France. They pull into this charming, super old-fashioned hotel for the night. The place looked like it had been frozen in time. There's antique furniture, oil lamps, staff in uniforms that are decades old. They sleep, leave the next morning, and later decide, that was pretty fun. Let's stay there again. Problem is, they can't find it. They go back there, the roads don't look the same, and when the hotel should be there when they get there, they find an empty field. So they decide to start asking around, figure out what happened to this hotel we stayed in. The locals told them no hotel like that had existed for years. Pretty creepy if you ask me. Now, if you've ever been to Liverpool, you might have heard of Bold Street. It's apparently a hotspot for time travel. People have claimed they'll be walking down the street and suddenly, boom, they're in the 1950s or the 60s. They'll see old shop fronts, vintage cars, people dressed like extras from a period drama. One guy even swore he went into a shop, saw some merchandise and bought something, only for it to vanish once he was back in the present. Either Liverpool's got the most committed pranksters alive, or something weird is going on there. This one's a more urban legend, but still quite wild. In 1950, a guy appeared in Times Square, looking like he's straight out of the 1800s. He called himself Rudolph Fentz. He had a top hat, some old coins in his pockets, a pocket watch, even a letter from 1876. He's confused, doesn't seem to know where he is or what's going on. And then he's hit by a car and killed. Turns out, once people went back and did some digging on this strange occurrence, there was a real guy named Rudolph Fentz who disappeared in 1876. Makes you wonder, right? In 1935, Air Marshal Sir Victor Goddard was flying over an abandoned Scottish airfield when he got caught in a storm. Suddenly, the storm clears, he sees the airfield, but not like he remembers. There's new hangars, yellow painted planes, mechanics in blue overalls, none of which existed there yet. 4 years later, he flies back, and it's exactly how he saw it. What happened there? And then another case was in Betgrease, Michigan. People say they've seen an entire village appear out of nowhere. Cabin lights, people moving around, music in the distance, and then it's gone. Records say there used to be a settlement there, so maybe they were just catching echoes of it somehow. Like a ghost village. Then there's the Gallipoli story. In 1915, a New Zealand regiment of soldiers was marching into battle. The witnesses that saw them watched them walk into this weird, low-hanging cloud and never come back out. They weren't found among the dead, they weren't taken prisoner, they just vanished. It's one of those wartime mysteries that's never really been fully explained. So, what's going on here with all these stories? Some people think it's wormholes or glitches in the Matrix. Others say it's just our brains playing tricks on us, or they're all making it up. When you hear about these stories, especially the ones with multiple witnesses and documentation, you start to wonder if time might be a little less stable than we think. Now, let's get a bit nerdy here, because there are some fascinating theories about how time might actually work. One is the black universe theory, which is also called eternalism. It says all points in time, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously. We're just experiencing them in a sequence. Think of it like a movie reel. All the frames are there at once, but you're only seeing one at a time. If that's true, maybe these people accidentally skipped to a different frame. And of course, you've got theories involving parallel universes, quantum entanglement, and even the idea that consciousness itself might be able to tune into different points in history, like changing the channel on a radio. There's even reports of the Vatican. They made this device called the chronovisor, which supposedly allowed them to see into different points in history. Mainly their goal was to see the crucifixion of Christ. If any of this is true, even one of it, it would explain why time slips suddenly feel so disorienting. You didn't move through time the way we normally think about it, you just switched tracks. So, that's our trip through time, literally. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Are these stories real? Or is everyone just making it up or had a bad case of jet lag? Now, don't forget to subscribe to Obscura Historia if you want to see more in the future. And remember, if you see people dressed for a century that isn't yours, maybe stick close to the exit, or just settle in and wait for the ride. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.